Every person has a story, and their story is unique. After story impact another story. I love this life. I love this faith.
So as a mum, it was such a shock to hear like some of the things that the doctor was saying, how Jordan might change in his personality, might lose the use of his limbs and things like that. And then she said even that, there's a risk of death. Well, I just couldn't believe it when she said that to me. As a mum, can you imagine being told that by someone? It was just the worst thing. But we knew that God had him.
Basically, there was a growth on the front of my brain, and they were worried that it was going to infect my whole brain and maybe kill me, or maybe cause brain damage if it was left or not sorted. So that's why they had to do surgery as soon as they could.
He'd gone for a scan to do with his hearing because he had some issues with his hearing. So it was a total shock that when he called us, he said, they found something on my brain.
And it was weird because as a little boy, when he was first born, he didn't have a birthmark, but he had a tiny little thing on his nose. And I just thought, well, that was part of who he is, But little did we know, till all these years later, that led to this dermoid on the brain.
We have to do this surgery, are you willing to do it? But you could die, and even if you survive, there are many risks involved as well. But I had a real peace about it and felt like God was going to protect me, and I had the whole of Freedom praying for me, every campus, all around the movement, and also even friends from other churches.
And this was the crazy thing, the date came through, and that date fell for the operation on the day of Jordan's birthday. And
all the days.
Even that was like, God, why on his birthday, that he is actually going to be operated on for 10 hours on his birthday? That's his birthday present.
I had already signed up to be on the Cambodian team, to go to Siem Reap, and that was what I wanted to do after the surgery. So I was like, oh man, I have to have this brain surgery first. And obviously the doctors were like, you're not going. Even before the surgery, they're like, it's not gonna happen. Recovery will take time, all this stuff. Even if you make it, then it's still gonna take a while. It wouldn't be wise to go. But I was like, no, I know I want to go. I know I'm called to go, and I'm going to Cambodia. It's going to happen.
He didn't say goodbye to us feeling sorry for himself. He went with vision for what God is going to do afterwards. And that's when the surgeon said to him just before they put him under for the operation, he said, what are you going to do when you come out of this, when you get through it? And that's when George said,
I'm going to change the world. And then I just passed out. Because in my mind I was thinking about Cambodia, and I was thinking about all that's ahead, and that, like I said, we're involved in life change, and that's what I had in my mind in that moment, and that's what I needed to focus on as well to get me through. Was I still have more to do with my life, I still have more to live for, and I need to get through this in order to do everything else that God's called me to.
I think 2012, May 2012, and I said to Pastor G, I think I'm ready for something new, a new adventure. There's something new for us. And he's asking me, what do you think about? I said, maybe you have to go. We have to start church in Freedom in Cambodia. And he did like this. He said, why don't you go then? And from then on, we were serious talking about it, starting exploring the opportunities and the ways how we could do that. And then a few months later, I think the 1st of October, we left Europe, we left Belgium came to Cambodia. God did not speak to us why we had to come, but we just felt God saying, go.
And I think also we just started pushing some doors, and doors opened, and we just stepped through them.
Yeah.
Obviously the doctors said, there's no way you can go to Cambodia, it's not going to happen. And it was 3 months until I was supposed to go into Cambodia. I still had my flights booked, all this stuff, was still hopeful to go. And I recovered in that time. I recovered, fully recovered, and the doctors were even amazed at how fast the recovery was. And I was so pumped because I was like, I am going.
I remember when I was lying on a bed one night, looking up at the ceiling, asking myself, what is happening to me? I was laying on the bed next to my girlfriends, whom I don't really love, and I was praying to God, like Hindu God, Buddhism God, Christian God, whatever. My life was successful when I was young, I have family, I have money, I have car, I have friends, but in 1 second, everything's gone. I lose friends, I lose money, I lose my family, even my family broke up, my mom and dad divorced, and suddenly I have to ask the big brother to take over the responsibility that my dad has. I just looking up at the ceiling and said, look, if you are real, why did this happen to me? If you are real, show up. If you are real, change my life.
Our time in Cambodia was absolutely crazy. When I look back on it, we were 19-year-old young guys. We had been invited to go start this church in Cambodia, a land that we've never been to before. Literally had no idea what we were doing. Had never started church before, but there was just this deep, raw passion within us.
So one day I was at a restaurant and I was with some of the guys on the church plant team at the time. We were just having dinner, and I remember seeing a table of young guys in their 20s, and I felt like God was saying, you need to go talk to them. And I was like, how? So then as we were leaving, we all left and got up to go, and I just was like, I have to go speak to them. So I just turned around, went over to the table, and for some reason, the first thing I thought to say was, just wondering, are you guys dancers? And they were like, no, but we dance in the club. And I was like, yeah, awesome. And I just was trying to go along the lines of, you know, you look like hip hop dancers, I'm new, I'm looking for a dance class, which is not true. So then they basically, the one guy said, well, you know, we go to the club, you should join us sometime. And so like the main guy of the group then, he said, oh, let me take your number, here's mine, we'll invite you next time we go. So I went along and just became friends with these guys. And I knew that God wanted me to connect with them. So I was just inviting them to church, telling them about Jesus. But none of them came. None of them came to church or were interested. But I kept on being friends with them and kept on just investing.
Arriving here and exploring more of the background of Cambodian history, it's a nation that came out of a devastating period in their history. So many values, family values have been lost.
They're not here in this nation. All those values will make life so important. The plans, the purpose that God has for life, you don't see them in their lifestyle. People don't know what life is, people don't know what love is, they don't know how to relate to each other. There's no purpose that know that they are called, giving their identity.
And I think also the great thing with the team was that they very early days started building strong relationships with local people, like really investing and connecting into the friendships with those young people.
My friend Dimong called me up and said, hey, you want to go on a bike ride? I said, why not? Who are we going with? He said, I just met up with these two English people. There is Jordan and Christian, come over. So then we drove off the jungle through the storm. There was a scary storm coming at us and hitting so hard. And I was like, man, let's go back. And Jordan said to me, it is safe and we're gonna make it. And I looked at this guy, I said, this guy is crazy. But I realized something is different in these people.
So Jord has this incredible appetite for life. He had it before, he loved adventure, but from going through this whole experience of, you know, you may not come out the other side, where you have so many dreams and you see the potential and the words that have been spoken over his life about how he's going to reach the world, he's going to reach other people, and we come to this moment, he's called for something more. We
get into Bayon Temple. The weather is so beautiful. Jordan came close to me and say, I am a Christian. I follow Jesus and he has changed my life. Jesus can change your life too. I was like, I'm not interested, man. You should come to our church. And I said, no, I'm not even hesitating to say that. I said, I'm not interested.
I remember just being gutted because he just gave me a flat out no. Like not even like, you know, a polite, oh yeah, I'll think about it. Just like, no, not interested, I'm not coming, don't want to. But then I managed to introduce him to some more of the church plant team because I remember saying to them like, there's something about this guy I'm leaving, but I really think we still need to invest in him. So they managed to meet him, they became friends with him too, they also hang out with him. And at this point, I then left the country. I left the country like a week after meeting Jaden, so I only got to hang out with him a few times before I left.
But this guy, Jordan and Christian, they are relentless. They keep on reaching out to me. So when we were having an evening drinks, that's where we have chicken frites and 75 cents whiskey with a Red Bull. It was good, and eating chicken feet is good.
Yes, you heard that correct, chicken's feet. They love it. You Cambodian guys, you love chicken feet. What is wrong with you? Stop it.
While we are having fun, Christian Jordans show up, and there's also Luke Hancon. So all of them are around us. We have so much fun. We have arm wrestling, but I realized something is different with this group of people. The love of their friendship is so deep. So we become friends, and he invited me to church again. Then I say no.
Man, when I left Cambodia, I cried a lot. I remember all the guys from church, they all came to say goodbye to me. I felt gutted for, even with these guys who I met at the restaurant, really felt like God was calling me to go over and talk to them. I went and did that, invested. It was just a little bit gutting because we'd obviously seen amazing things, but I just was like, I really wish Jaden had come to church, and left with a full heart, but still felt like there, was still a bit the mission left.
So I went out every night. It was like addicted to a nightclub things. It's like a habit. Early in the morning I was home. I got home around 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. And I was thinking about the invitation. I thought maybe I would go to church. Then one of my friends, Dan, in the group as well, he's called me. He said, let's go to church. Then I checked, okay, why not, let's go. But I was very hangover.
Because of the time difference, I remember getting a message, like waking up to a message from Luke Hancorn saying, bro, you'll never guess what, Jaden came to church. And I was so pumped.
I remember he came to church a few times in the beginning. He was smelling of alcohol, but I remember I hugged him.
He came and hugged me. It's like I almost ran out of breath because it's so tight. I was saying I don't like it, but inside of me, I like it so much. Seriously, I don't like the church that day, but I love the love within that church. So I sat down and I put on my cap. My face was downcast, praying for the event to finish. So Luke Hancon come up and preaching about the prodigal son.
It was my life. I had gone away from God. I ran away, I'd done my own thing, and I had come back and given my life to him, and it completely transformed me, and I wanted people to hear about this story. And so I'm there at the front of the stage just giving it everything. There wasn't really anybody there that looked like they were really paying attention. As I was looking out across the room, the door from the back opened, and there this guy, like his eyes were kind of closed, he wasn't really sure where he was going in, didn't know where he was, and he just came out the back. And it was Jaden who came across the room.
God hit me so hard with his word. He was saying to me that no matter what I done wrong, he would delete it. He would forget it. And he would give me a second chance to come back home. And I felt so touched. I was crying. I said to myself, no, don't cry. But my tears rolling down. Luke Hancon said, if you want to have a relationship with Jesus today, put your hands up and we're gonna be praying for you. So in my heart was so touched, my tear rolling down, I raised my hand. And I feel like freedom come into my life. I have never feel set free like this. So I went home. I said to my Mom, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. My mom cries. We both cried. I asked her forgiveness. She hugged me, I hugged her. And then there's a tattoo on my arm that I had in the past life that I don't have a purpose for. But then I realized I need to get a tattoo that have a purpose for. So a couple of days after I got saved, we went to a tattoo shop. I said, I want to get a welcome home tattoo because this is the tattoo that will remind me the day that I come back home to my family. So after I got saved, I have so much to change. But it is so good to have friends that understands your situation, like Christian, Hank, Jordan, Natalie, Sarah, Jan and Marlene. They spend so much time with me, encourage me, speak truth into my life. In that early beginning, I was still dealing drugs, taking drugs, and make a lot of decisions. But these people, they didn't give up on me.
Thanks to Christian Dixon, who really was key in inviting him back and back and back and back again in the church. And then I remember, because he started in production. And then there was that story when he met Volet.
So one day I was at the Exchange Money. I rolled out from that place. I looked at the window of the cars next door. I saw Volet, but I'm not really sure that is Volet. So I got home, then I found her Facebook account. So I sent her a friend request. 1 month later, she accepted my request, and then I sent a message to her, say, hey, remember me? She said, yeah, I remember you.
ហើយពួកយើងធ្លាប់បានជួបគ្នាម្ដងពីរដងតាំងពីពួកយើងនៅក្មេងៗអញ្ចឹងទៅពួកយើងស្គាល់គ្នាធ្លាប់ឃើញមុខគ្នាប៉ុន្តែពួកយើងអត់ដែរនិយាយគ្នាអញ្ចឹងវាភ្ញាក់ផ្អើលសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំប៉ុន្តែគាត់បានឆាតមកខ្ញុំហើយពួកយើងក៏បន្តការសន្ទនាគ្នាតាម Messenger របស់ពួកយើងហើយពួកយើងបាននិយាយគ្នាថាថ្ងៃណាមួយពួកយើងនឹងចេញទៅក្រៅដើម្បីញ៉ាំអាហារជុំគ្នា
So we've been hanging out with each other. I was a drug dealer at that time. I was taking drug and dealing drug, and she also take drugs. And I was like, wow. So I find out she also dealing drug, but then 1 month later she had to go to Singapore because she got into trouble.
ហើយក្នុងអំឡុងពេលហ្នឹងនៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំនៅសិង្ហបុរីហ្នឹងខ្ញុំជាមួយនឹងជាដិននៅតែបន្តការឆាតតគ្នាតាមរយៈ Facebook ហើយគាត់ក៏ខលទៅលេងខ្ញុំពេលខ្លះអញ្ចឹងនៅពេលដែលមានពេលមួយនៅពេលដែលយើងខលនិយាយលេងជាមួយគ្នាខ្ញុំបានប្រាប់គាត់ពីអារម្មណ៍របស់ខ្ញុំដែលខ្ញុំនឹកកូនរបស់ខ្ញុំ
I was like, what? Your brother? And she said, no. I miss BB, my son. So I was shocked. I was like, she has a son?
បន្ទាប់ពីខ្ញុំមកសិង្ហបុរីវិញពួកយើងក៏បានចេញទៅក្រៅញ៉ាំអាហារជុំគ្នាជាមួយនឹងជេដិនហើយខ្ញុំបានយក BB ទៅជាមួយដែរពួកយើងមានអាហារពេលល្ងាចជាមួយគ្នាដ៏ល្អមែនតើយើងញ៉ាំអាហារពេលល្ងាចជុំគ្នាយើងញ៉ាំការ៉េមជាមួយគ្នាក៏បាននិយាយលេងជាមួយគ្នាច្រើនហើយជេដិនក៏បាននិយាយលេងជាមួយនឹង BB ច្រើនដូចគ្នាជេដិនក៏បានតាក់ទងមកខ្ញុំហើយគាត់បានសុំការអនុញ្ញាតពីខ្ញុំដើម្បីសុំ BB យកទៅគេងជាមួយនឹងគាត់មួយយប់វាភ្ញាក់ផ្អើលសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំដោយសារតែខ្ញុំគិតថាជេដិនគាត់គឺជាកំឡោះអាហ្នឹងគាត់អត់ធ្លាប់មានកូនពីមុនមកទេចុះបើគាត់យកកូនខ្ញុំទៅគេងមួយយប់ពេលកូនខ្ញុំមួយទឹកគាត់គិតមិនពេលកូនខ្ញុំត្រូវបាត់ជើងធំតើគាត់នឹងត្រូវធ្វើមិនជាមួយកូនខ្ញុំព្រោះដោយសារតែគាត់ធ្លាប់មានកូនពីមុនមកហើយប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំក៏បានសម្រេចចិត្តថាអូខេអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យគាត់ទៅមួយយប់
I was playing with the boys and we was like becoming friends and we were having a lot of fun and I was saying good night. He said no. Bedtime story. I was like, bedtime story? I never heard a bedtime story. How can I share a bedtime story? So I took my phone, I went on YouTube, and I said, this is your bedtime story. So we watched YouTube and then we fall asleep. That's where I felt like, even though my dad was not a good dad to me, but I can become a good dad to him. God placed me here to restore. God placed me here to heal something. So I took responsibility and I said yes to this calling. I'm gonna become a dad.
ខ្ញុំឃើញការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរនៅក្នុងជេដិនខ្ញុំឃើញសកម្មភាពរបស់គាត់នៅការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរពីអាចនិយាយបានថាពីព្រាននារីទៅជាបុរសដែលស្មោះត្រង់ដោយសារតែបងមានសង្សារច្រើនអ្នកមែនតើប៉ុន្តែនៅថ្ងៃនេះគាត់បាននិយាយមកប្រាប់ខ្ញុំថាគាត់បានធ្វើការសម្រេចចិត្តមួយដែលគាត់គិតថាគាត់នឹងចង់ចាប់ផ្ដើមជីវិតជាមួយខ្ញុំរហូតតទៅថ្ងៃមុខទៀតមិនមែនត្រឹមតែជាសង្សារមួយពេលចាប់ផ្ដើមនៅពេលដែលជេដិនបានអញ្ជើញខ្ញុំទៅជិះម៉ូតូដើរលេងជាមួយមនុស្សមួយក្រុម ប៉ុន្តែពួកគាត់គឺជាក្រុមមនុស្សដែលមកពីក្រុមជំនុំសេរីភាពហើយសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំវាមានអារម្មណ៍ថាប្លែកសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំដោយសារតែលើកទី1ដែលខ្ញុំបានជួបក្រុមមនុស្សមួយហ្នឹងខ្ញុំបានទទួលអារម្មណ៍មួយដែលខុសប្លែកពីធម្មតាដែលខ្ញុំអត់ធ្លាប់បានទទួលពីមុនមកខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាពួកគេរស់រាយរាក់ទាក់ពួកគេពោពេញទៅដោយក្តីស្រឡាញ់ពួកគេពោពេញទៅដោយស្នាមញញឹមពួកគេពោពេញទៅដោយអំណរ
I couldn't describe it in that time, but I felt like there's something in us that got it placed together. So on a Valentine 2014, I blindfolded her in the car and I drove around for 20 minutes, get into the hotel, across the door. The hotel has set up a very nice place. We sat down, I opened her eyes. She was like, where are we? I knelt down, I let her know that I am really serious and will you marry me? She said yes, yes, she said yes. But there's so much stuff we need to get rid of. There's drugs, business, and there's so many bad decisions that we're still making in that time.
And then they told us one day they wanted to get married, but Vole wasn't a Christian yet. So normally we would disadvise them for getting married, but something in our spirit told us to just get along, so we went through the wedding preparation with them.
Yeah. We said, I've never thought about marrying before God.
I think because Vole she's a thinker, so it opened her mind, it helped her getting to know this amazing God that we serve. And I remember clearly when we did the wedding vows in the church, she was really emotionally touched by the Holy Spirit. The wedding vows was only a short time because we did it in the Sunday morning event. Then the whole, the Khmer traditional things they did, that took like 2 days, but they just went through the motions. It didn't really touch her in any way, shape or form. So I think that's where the Holy Spirit started a work in her to get her on the path with him, because then the week after the wedding when she came to church, she got saved.
Yes.
តាមរយៈការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរអត្តចរិតរបស់ចេដិនពីព្រាននារីពីបុរសដែលព្រាននារីទៅជាបុរសស្មោះស្នេហ៍វាបង្ហាញអំពីវត្តមានរបស់ព្រះអង្គគង់នៅជាមួយបុរសម្នាក់ហ្នឹងដែលបង្ហាញខ្ញុំថាព្រះមួយហ្នឹងកំពុងតែដឹកនាំបុរសម្នាក់ហ្នឹងទៅកាន់អ្វីដែលត្រឹមត្រូវទៅកាន់ជីវិតដែលត្រឹមត្រូវប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលបញ្ជាក់ខ្ញុំបន្ថែមទៀតថាព្រះអង្គគឺពិតជាព្រះសម្រាប់ជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំពិតប្រាកដមែនគឺតាមរយៈសកម្មភាពមិត្តភ័ក្តិនិងមនុស្សនៅក្នុងក្រុមជំនុំដូចគ្នាអញ្ចឹងបន្ទាប់ពីខ្ញុំបានរៀបការជាមួយចេដិនបាន2-3សប្តាហ៍ក្រោយមកខ្ញុំក៏បានសម្រេចចិត្តលើកដៃទទួលជាព្រះអង្គនៅក្នុងក្រុមជំនុំ
A couple months later, we started a business, a flower business, but I had to go to Bangkok to study. Then I realized there is $4,000 cocaine in my jacket at home in Siem Reap. I was staring at it from 9 p.m. until 12 a.m. in the morning. I was like, I need money. I need to pay debt. I need to pay school for my kids. I need to survive, and I don't have a job. And God said to me, trust me, I will provide, trust me. But I was fighting with the flesh and the word of God for 3 hours. My friend called me, hey, you have stuff? I need $500 cocaine. I was like, I don't have any. I'm not in drug business anymore. And I hook up and I kneel down in the toilet praying to God. I trust you. Let's do this together. So I poured the drug into the toilet. The drug is gone. I went to bed and I was set free. I was set free. I went into Jan and Marlene and I said, I'm so sorry that I lied about the drug stuff. So I said to them, I asked for forgiveness and forgave me. They forgave me. And then on that night, they were praying and baptized me in the Holy Spirit, and I felt so much power came from heaven. It's like a dove, and I buffed into spoken tongue. And that night is the night that I remember that the small thinking has broken, the fear has broken, addiction has broken, and that night is the beginning of my new life.
មានពេលមួយថតគាត់បានតាក់ទងមកខ្ញុំមកតាម Facebook ហើយគាត់បាននិយាយជាមួយខ្ញុំគាត់ប្រាប់ខ្ញុំថាគាត់ចង់ត្រឡប់មកស្រុកខ្មែរវិញ តើខ្ញុំគិតបែបណាដែរអញ្ចឹងបន្ទាប់ពីខ្ញុំទទួលបានដំណឹងមួយនឹងហើយខ្ញុំក៏បានអង្គុយគិតហើយខ្ញុំពិតជាភ័យខ្លាចមែនតើដោយសារតែខ្ញុំគិតថាបើសិនជាគាត់មកស្រុកខ្មែរវិញតើគាត់នឹងប្រើប្រាស់គ្រឿងញៀននឹងម្ដងទៀតឬមួយក៏យ៉ាងណាអញ្ចឹងពេលហ្នឹងហើយដែលខ្ញុំសម្រេចចិត្តថាឲ្យខ្ញុំបានដឹងហ្មងខ្ញុំថាបើព្រះអង្គអាចកែខ្ញុំបានព្រះអង្គក៏អាចកែប្អូនប្រុសខ្ញុំបានដែរបើសិនជាខ្ញុំមានជីវិតថ្មីដោយសារតែព្រះអង្គប្អូនប្រុសខ្ញុំក៏អាចមានជីវិតថ្មីដោយសារព្រះអង្គដូចគ្នា
ខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាប្លែកមែនតើសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំពេលដែលខ្ញុំចូលរួមក្រុមជំនុំជាលើកទី1យើងចូលទៅមុនដំបូងខ្ញុំចាំបានពេលមួយដែលមានការថ្វាយបង្គំកើតឡើងហើយមានអារម្មណ៍ថាឆេះឈួរប្លែកដែលខ្ញុំអត់ដែលឃើញពីមុនមកនៅក្នុងជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំ
The first night he came, he was shy, he was insecure. On and on from week after week, we see a difference in talk. Brighter and brighter, there's life coming in him.
បន្ទាប់មកខ្ញុំបានចូលរួមបន្តទៀតនៅសប្តាហ៍បន្ទាប់ទៀតហើយខ្ញុំបានឮព្រះបន្ទូលអំពីរឿងផុសអ៊ីសាអែដែលមូសេគាត់បានដឹកនាំជីវិតអ៊ីសាអែចេញពីភាពជាទាសករនៃអំពើបាបអ្វីផ្សេងហើយពេលហ្នឹងខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាមេរៀនមួយហ្នឹងនិយាយមកកាន់ជីវិតខ្ញុំខ្លាំងមែនទែនហើយខ្ញុំបានចាប់ផ្ដើមទទួលជឿព្រះអង្គនៅក្នុងថ្ងៃនោះ
He became faithful to God. He committed to serve in the church. His life changed. He impacted his friends. He tells his friends about Jesus. He's changed in so many areas in his life. And he joins academy. He become a leader in the church. He been set free from drug completely. And now he is a church planting team in Battambang and leading worship. This is amazing.
មានការអស្ចារ្យជាច្រើនកើតឡើងនៅក្នុងក្រុមជំនុំសេរីភាពបាត់ដំបងមនុស្សជាច្រើនបានទទួលជឿព្រះអង្គពួកគាត់មានទំនាក់ទំនងជាមួយព្រះអង្គគាត់បានស្វែងរកគោលដៅរបស់គាត់នៅក្នុងជីវិតរបស់គាត់មនុស្សដែលអត់មានភាពជាអ្នកដឹកនាំទទួលបានភាពជាអ្នកដឹកនាំអស្ចារ្យមែនទែនអរគុណនៅអ្វីដែលព្រះអង្គបានធ្វើនៅក្នុងជីវិតរបស់ពួកគេហើយអរគុណនៅអ្វីដែលព្រះអង្គបានប្រើខ្ញុំដើម្បីឲ្យខ្ញុំអាចនាំអំណាចរបស់ព្រះអង្គទៅកាន់អ្នកដទៃបាន
ជាការពិតចោលវាមកលួចហើយនឹងសម្លាប់ហើយនឹងបំផ្លាញជីវិតរបស់ពួកយើងប៉ុន្តែព្រះអង្គព្រះជាម្ចាស់ទ្រង់គាត់មកឲ្យពួកយើងមានជីវិតបរិបូរណ៍ដូច្នេះខ្ញុំមានជីវិតខ្ញុំធ្លាប់មានជីវិតអាពីពិពាហ៍ដែលបែកបាក់ដែលបរាជ័យប៉ុន្តែព្រះអង្គបានបំពេញនិងផ្ដល់ឲ្យខ្ញុំមកវិញនៅអាពីពិពាហ៍ដ៏អស្ចារ្យដ៏ស្រស់ស្អាតជាមួយនឹងបុរសដ៏អស្ចារ្យដែលពោរពេញទៅដោយភាពជាអ្នកដឹកនាំម្នាក់ហើយខ្ញុំមានកូនដ៏ស្រស់ស្អាតហើយខ្ញុំធ្លាប់បែកបាក់ជាមួយនឹងម្ដាយរបស់ខ្ញុំដែលគាត់បានចាក់ចេញពីខ្ញុំនៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំនៅអាយុតូចប៉ុន្តែនៅពេលនេះខ្ញុំទទួលបានគាត់មកវិញហើយគាត់បានទទួលជឿព្រះអង្គខ្ញុំបានប្អូនប្រុសខ្ញុំត្រឡប់មកវិញគ្រួសាររបស់យើងនៅស្រុកខ្មែរជុំគ្នាពួកយើងតែងតែមានពេលវេលាល្អជាមួយគ្នា
There's so many people like me out there are living in the dark, are suffering, looking up to the ceiling, crying to God. So I have an opportunity to stay in the light and I don't want to turn back to the dark. I didn't say the light is easy. You have to put your eye up on Jesus and nothing can shake you. And there's frustration, there's pressure up on you, but there's more power in that pressure. I love this life. I love this faith. I love volunteering. I love leading. And then Jan and Marlene encourage us to take next step after next step and after next step. And now we are becoming a campus pastor of Siem Reap. Because I believe there is more, and they believe there is more that we can do. Every person has a story, and their story is unique. After story impact another story.
We said this many years ago when we started 10-4, but the whole thing of even if there is just one, we will go. And I am so glad that I was able to go to Cambodia and be just a small part of their journey and their story when I see the life change now and see how much they're following Jesus. Just seeing them and even just hearing how it's even their kids now they're bringing up to love and follow Jesus, and it's just so incredible, and it's just such an incredible reminder that what we're doing is worth it in the trials and the challenges, in the battles and the struggles, that these things are what it's all about, and it's so worth it.